יבוא שלום עלינו, עוד יבוא שלום עלינו, יבוא שלום עלינו ועל כולם.
Members of the diplomatic corps, teachers, faculty members, relatives and friends of our graduates, ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, welcome to the graduation ceremony of the 42nd International Master of Public Health course at the Braun School of Public Health and Community Medicine of Hebrew University of Jerusalem and the Hadassah Medical Organization.
Take with you home a commitment, an experience, a lesson for life. You saw part of it just in the last hour when we had an opportunity to hear the address, the beautiful teaching, bright, beautiful built address.
Method of learning in Israel is in many ways different in method of learning over the globe. One may say it is the Jewish method of learning. You do not learn by dictating. You do not learn by repeating only. You do not learn only by acquiring information. No. The method of learning is the method of questioning. You are encouraged to question, to ask. A lesson is not just a lesson of a teacher telling you. You have to ask, why is it so? Because by asking your question, any individual question, you become involved in the process of learning. Then the answer of the teacher becomes yours because the question was yours. And since you spend some time in Passover ceremony, why won't we go back to this ceremony? It is about two things. One, partnership in the Middle East between us and the Egyptians, and yes, how much we learned in Egypt, even nowadays from each other, and we should learn more. And there is another. The second point is about the discourse between the generations. You cannot start a Passover evening teaching about freedom. That's the message. That's the night. You cannot start talking about freedom without having the kids asking. Otherwise it won't work. They have to ask in order for you to answer. And your answer is about slavery and freedom. And this is the discourse that has been going for thousands of years between parents and kids. Kids asking when they're 2 years old, 3 years old, they just know the tune. You remember because you participate. It's nice that she asked. It's nice that he asked. It's beautiful. When he becomes 6, you already understand something. When he becomes 8, maybe his sister asks. But he knows now something about his time of questioning, and the answer is he's got. In 16, they already ask themselves what's the meaning of slavery, freedom, and responsibility. And here comes you. Here comes each of you. Each of the ones who participates in this program, each of the ones who carries with him and with her the message of freedom, the message of questioning, learning, and bringing back answers. You know the questions and you know the answers. And this great school is based on 3 again. Questions taken, I said it yesterday, now you understand better how it bridges to today. questions you take from the world, from the reality, from the public health services, from the needs of your people. Now you are dressed with your customs, with the traditional dresses of your people and your places, and you remember the needs that brought you over to here. These are our needs also. We know every moment what are our needs, and we know how to take the questions from the arid weather of us, from the shortage of water once upon a time of us, for the need of vitamins of us. These are the questions that we took from day-to-day life, like yourselves. And then we have the method of basic sciences. You know, nothing is solved by feeling. It's not a gut feeling. You studied how to understand the basic sciences. This is the uniqueness of this school. Not only questions, but basic sciences. Statistics, demography, analyzing the material, comparing to each other. It's not a solution of one-time feeling. It's a method of comparing, then the check and balance, then the answer that you take back from your reality as a question to your reality as an answer. So, you know, if you went to the Faculty of Agriculture, that we met with them yesterday, and they're still with us, this one, it's an invention of us, cherry tomato, very tasty. It's a result of questioning. We patented it. As you patented what you studied, like this yellow pepper. Also, Faculty of Agriculture, the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, in Rehovot. The method is one. The system is one. The commitment is one. And if you haven't understood it, you are not going to get your degrees. However, you went through it, and you understand it better than anybody else, because you knew how the teacher in the class took your daily issues from your daily countries, brought it to the basic science, and gave a solution. You go back home, and you remember, as Ambassador Gal said today, you remember that this is home. You'll come back home to share with questions, to come to give lectures and teach, and from time to time to meet with your alumni in order to strengthen, and that is the last, third advantage of this school. Questions, basic and applied sciences, and networking. Look at the colors of the dressings, look at the face, look at the names, look at the individual face of each of you, and remember, you make a network. In your power is to solve the problems not because only thank those who enable you coming, because from your own talents, commitments, and experience, you are going to build the future of your own people that becomes very soon the answers and the needs of the world. And that's what we learned for Sir Trevor Pierce, from Lady Daniela, live for long life. And today we have guests, Lord Mendelssohn, others who came to see, and trust me, any meeting one-on-one with this group creates a new wave of commitment of us and others to enable many more of your like to continue on this trend to save the world in a very simple way. Personal commitment using your talents. Good luck to you, and it's not a wish. I make you know that you are going to be successful. Good luck is going to be the recipe.
It is really a great honor and pleasure to greet you at this graduation ceremony of the International Masters in Public Health. On behalf of the Faculty of Medicine, I congratulate you on your achievement. The 21 graduates today join more than 850 public health professionals who graduated from this excellent school. The students of this year's international program came from 17 developing countries, and following graduation will contribute tremendously to the different aspects of public health planning and execution in their home countries. This graduation ceremony, as well as you and I, all of us can see, is one of the most remarkable ceremonies at the Hebrew University. The combination of people coming from different cultures to address regional and global medical issues provides exceptional opportunity. I have no doubt that this integration sets the stage for a unique learning experience and joyful atmosphere. Dear graduates, you studied this year and were educated as masters in public health. These studies provided you with tools for examining public health problems and formulating relevant responses at the institutional, community, and national levels. You have developed knowledge and skills in a broad range of public health disciplines, which prepare you to take up key positions as leaders and teachers in your home countries, in disease prevention and disease control. I am confident that the educational and social features that you have gained and experienced during this year will be forever part of your life. I know that you also took advantage of a wide range of social and cultural activities that serve to bond and integrate you and introduce you to the historical and modern Israel. I'm sure that the social events that you have participated in and your trips across Israel made this year even more significant for you. This is a great opportunity for me to thank the Mashhav at the Israel Ministry of Foreign Ministry, the British friend and the American friends of the Hebrew University, the Moshal Foundation, and of course, the Pierce Foundation. Their donations made this year's teaching program possible. The support of this organization manifested as fellowship for the students is greatly appreciated, and I am confident that it will continue for many years to come. I also would like to thank all the teachers and instructors of the program, and particularly Professor Yuda Newmark, for without his devoted work, this teaching program could not have taken place. Surely not with such a great success. Dear graduates, you are now embarking on a new future. I know that at least 2 students have decided to stay in Israel, and we are happy for that. Others will return to their home countries, and I am confident that you will all serve as good ambassadors, not only for the School of Public Health and the Hebrew University and Hadassah, but also for the State of Israel and its citizens. I wish you all the best professionally and in your personal life. Every life is a story. Make yours a bestseller. Happy graduation.
During their course of studies here in Jerusalem, the IMPH students have come to appreciate that our school has 2 institutional parents, Hebrew University and Hadassah. And we're grateful to both institutions for their support and for providing an environment that is academically stimulating and physically comfortable.
I would like to thank and salute the graduates for the effort that they've taken, first of all, to come over to Israel, secondly, to spend here a year, and I'm sure that it has been an interesting experience for you. What I would like to do is take you a little bit back into history, about 100 years back. And it's 1912, when Henrietta Zoll, the founder of our organization, which is an Israeli-American organization, came over at that time to Palestine and discovered basically that there's no infrastructure for what she at that point understood was the beginning of healthcare in the United States. And she established HWZOA, which is the Hadassah organization in the US, and the HMO organization, Hadassah Medical Organization here in Israel. And this organization spread all over the country and created what we call today the Drop of Milk, which is an organization that was working for the benefit of the entire population at that time of Palestine, and later on for Israel, to prevent maternal death post-delivery, and also to keep the babies safe and without disease. From that, we flourished into a hospital and a hospital system here in Jerusalem and all over the country. And upon the creation of the State of Israel, Hadassah focused on three issues: education, research, and providing the citizens of Jerusalem the best medical care we can provide them. And this is where we are today. I think if we look backwards at the really astonishing accomplishment of the State of Israel when it comes to public health, we should recognize the contribution of the organization of which I'm representing, and with whom you had the ability to see a little bit of what has been done here at the university, and in this fantastic collaboration we have for the past nearly 70 years between the Hebrew University and Hadassah. And I think this brings really the strengths to this organization. So to conclude, I would like to thank you for coming over. I would like to salute you for the effort you've taken. I would like to thank your families and your kids for the time that they've taken to support the effort that you had to put into the studies and not into your families. And I do hope that you will keep in touch with us, and you always will feel us as part of your family, and to come over and visit us. Thank you very much.
Most understand the Hebrew word shalom to mean peace, hello, and goodbye. But as Randy Woodley writes in his book, Shalom in the Community of Creation, that is correct if you consider it correct to call the Grand Canyon a large crack in the ground, or the Pacific Ocean a large pool. Peace is only one small part of the meaning. Shalom comes from the Hebrew word shalem, completeness, wholeness, harmony, contentment, and tranquility. And from this place of celebration, our thoughts and prayers are with those whose lives have been disrupted by the destructive forces of mankind-influenced nature in the Caribbean, USA, Mexico, India, Nepal, Bangladesh, and elsewhere. I call upon the graduating class to serenade us with their rendition of Peace Will Yet Come Upon Us, composed by Israeli musician-composer Moshe Ben Ari. As our graduates return to their seats, I'd like to take this opportunity to quickly thank the people who help us swim through the sometimes turbulent waters, the fabulous IMPH team. Pamela Malka, the program secretary. I won't even try to describe the myriad tasks that Pam carries out on a daily basis, from contact with applicants well before they arrive in Israel to preparing transcripts at the end of the course and everything in between. Working alongside Pam and bearing the responsibility of the endless stream of day-to-day issues is Edna Yoshua Perez. Edna is the administrative coordinator of the program and the one who ensures that we'll have enough apartments for all the students, that textbooks will arrive on time, that teachers get paid, and as the saying goes, behind every successful graduation ceremony is a great woman. Edna is that great woman. Thank you very much. Sincere thanks also to Dr. Ronit Zinreich, the academic coordinator of the program. Ronit resolves the many and complex academic questions that arise, and in the spirit of preventive medicine, she often does so even before they become issues. So Ronit, on behalf of the students and the teachers, thank you. And for the few minutes during the entire year that the students were not in class or in the library, we are extremely grateful to Matana Azulai, our tireless and patient social coordinator. And as been mentioned, with the graduation of this year's class, we have over 860 IMPH alumni in 96 countries across the globe. Through the combined efforts of Dr. Maureen Malawani, the IMPH alumni academic coordinator, Ms. Ruud Kramer, our alumni communications coordinator, and Rachel Bernstein, our outreach coordinator, we maintain close contact and professional collaborations with hundreds of these graduates across the globe on a regular basis and make sure the world hears about this great program and the remarkable work our graduates and students are doing. And lastly, to an informal member of the IMPH team, but no less important, to Neva Treisman, our school secretary, whose assistance on the very many administrative matters and her resourcefulness is greatly appreciated. The IMPH program was established in 1971 through the support of Mashav, Israel's Agency for International Development Cooperation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Over the years, Mashav has been a vital supporter of the program and a committed partner in many of our other global public health training activities.
And in general, it's a great privilege for Mashav to be associated with this program since 1971. And when you hear the numbers of 850 graduates, it definitely makes Israel a very proud member of the international community and a very proud member of the sources that are trying to improve public health all around the world. Today, Mashav is part of this program as one of the sponsors, sponsoring 5 scholarships for this program, and we are very honored this year to sponsor 5 participants from Nepal, Haiti, Guyana, and 2 from Fiji. And we are doubly honored and happy to sponsor 5 additional students in the coming program that will start towards the end of this year from Antigua and Barbuda, Fiji, Haiti, Guyana, and Tonga, some of which thank you, some of which have been very heavily affected by the last hurricanes, and I think sharing the Israeli experience of public health with representatives from those unfortunate areas will be a definite contribution. I think by the year 2050, humanity will probably reach the frightening figure of 10 billion inhabitants on this planet. And the only way that the human race will be able to deal with the challenges in food insecurity, in water insecurity, in public health insecurity, border insecurity. The only way that humanity will be able to face those challenges will be through technology, through smart technology, through the combination of technology, and through the sharing of know-how between human beings, between peoples, because no one community, no one country will be able to deal with the challenges alone. And Israel is a very proud member of this community of countries who are sharing their know-how, who are sharing their experience with others. I head Mashav, the Israeli Agency for International Development Cooperation and Israeli Aid worldwide, and we have very proudly trained up until today 300,000 different individuals from almost 150 different countries in various fields of development, starting from agriculture, water, education, and of course health and public health. And this program is definitely the backbone of public health international cooperation that Israel is a part of, and we're very happy with this program. And we, at least on the government part, will do as much as we can for this program to continue and for many, many more graduates to join this family of 850 graduates that already exist. So again, I want to praise the Hebrew University and praise the Hadassah Hospital and wish all of you safe travels back home, and welcome to the family of Israeli graduates, and shalom and toda.
One of our many phenomenal IMPH alumni is Dr. Luis Rosa Sosa. He studied here 3 years ago from the Dominican Republic. Shortly after returning home following his own graduation, he was sent by Médecins du Monde, Doctors of the World, to establish and coordinate medical services for the thousands of Syrian refugees arriving daily into the Zaatari displaced persons camp in Jordan. After successfully scaling up the services and establishing a network of volunteer community health workers, Dr. Rosa returned home to take up the post of Director of Public Health Programs at Health Horizons International Foundation. But that didn't last very long, as his services and qualifications were desperately needed in Beirut, in the war-torn city where he is currently working.
Thank you for inviting me tonight to participate in this celebration. Congratulations to all of you who are here finishing a rewarding year of public health studies. You are joining a prestigious group of graduates of the Hebrew University Brown School of Public Health, Hadassah, which has hosted over 60 students since 1970. More than 850 students from 96 countries across the globe have participated in this unique experience and have returned home and to make important contributions to the health and development of their countries and beyond. Also, just I mentioned for the history, for the one of Dominican, Mr. Dr. Luis Manuel Rosa Sosa, who was graduated in 2007, since his training here in Jerusalem, and he has continued his global experience working with Medicine Sans Frontières, establishing a care facility for Syrian refugees. This is, for me, is a special history and globally amazing cooperation. He has also returned to the Dominican Republic. Today, he in Dominican Republic serves in this system for public health. If I add a personal note, I would like to allow to me to say, I am very emotional today in this celebration. Why? Because I was in Israel and participate in Masha course. I am Masha. After this, I start my career, diplomatic careers in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the Dominican Republic. And after 1 year, back to Israel and participate like in different programs and receive posting like consul in Israel. and after years, back to Israel again, like ambassador. I really part of this cooperation, and my professional life is testify about my professional life is part of Israel, is part of Masha. As ambassador of the Dominican Republic and as the Dean of the Diplomatic Corps, I wish to you all the greatest success in your journey forward from this exceptional international program. Thank you and welcome.
As a public health physician trained in international relations and diplomacy, today's keynote speaker, Dr. Josephine Ojiambo, has an extraordinarily illustrious career that bridges international relations, global diplomacy, governance, policy advocacy, democracy building, conflict resolution, and of course, public health. She has held a wide range of leadership, management, and senior advisory positions in the political process and public, private, and non-governmental sectors at the national and multilateral levels. Dr. Ojiambo has been a vital asset to Kenya and far beyond, including serving as ambassador and deputy permanent representative of Kenya to the United Nations. She has held other very senior positions in the United Nations, and since 2014 is a Deputy Secretary General at the Commonwealth Secretariat in London. In all of her capacities, Dr. Ojiambo is a true friend and tireless advocate for Israel. I could go on, but it's much more important to hear from her than about her, so I will just say that of all of her accolades, the most meaningful, at least for me, and perhaps for you, is that Dr. Ojiambo is a proud graduate of the IMPH program. And it is my great pleasure to call upon my former student and now role model, Dr. Josephine Ojiambo.
Shalom. Jumbo. Thank you. I'm deeply grateful to be here. I really want to thank my teacher, Professor Yehuda Newmark, and also Maureen and the team who have worked constantly to make this event succeed. You have kept the flame of our candle burning for this event, despite the ebb and flow in waves of communication amongst us and across the Mediterranean. A deep bow to you and to the faculty. Your solid, committed friendship to me over the years bears testimony to the first-class quality of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem and the School of Public Health and Community Medicine. I also wish to thank the Peers Foundation, in particular Trevor and his wife, Daniela, for their generous support to this master's program over the years. I was delighted to hear Trevor Peers received a knighthood from Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth III this year. I was also pleased to hear Benjamin Sassoon's appointment as Chancellor of this fine institution. Once again, the Hebrew University is in good hands. Lastly, and most importantly, I would like to extend a warm welcome to the graduates and their families and friends on this special day. This is a wonderful moment in your lives. For all wonderful things and for life itself, we thank God. Allow me the honor to share briefly in the wonder of this moment. And what a wonderful moment it is, too. In order to be sitting here today, all of you will already have shown intelligence, passion, perseverance, diligence, and so many other important qualities that will serve you well in life. In fact, these attributes are equally important as the knowledge you live with. So you should all be proud at a job well done. Indeed, I see a lot of relaxed faces in the audience today. Perhaps a lot of relief that you no longer have lessons to go to, right? I remember the feeling well. I was once in your shoes. I was a scholar supported by the Hadassah Women's Organization, and today I'm a proud life member of the Hadassah Women's Organization. My membership is that of Nassau County, New York. But I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I don't remember a single word of the graduation speech from my undergraduate degree. Don't worry, faculty members, I'm referring to the University of Nairobi and not this august institution. And do you know why I don't remember a single word? Because I was so joyful that I was over the moon with my achievement. I was chuffed to bits, as they say in Britain, don't they, Lord Mendelssohn? I couldn't concentrate on the speech at all. I just wanted the speech to end so that I could go out into the sun with my friends and get my hands on the nearest glass of wine. But by the time I received my master's from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, a few years later, I was a little more receptive to the advice being offered by the speaker. In fact, the lessons I heard that day have stayed with me, and I feel it's my duty to pass these on to you. So graduates, you'll have to wipe the smiles off your faces. Welcome to the final lesson of the year. I hope you're seated comfortably. On this occasion, there's no need for you to take notes, but as my graduation speaker reminded me, I can guarantee you that you'll all be tested, just maybe not today. As the wisest among you already know, there is still a lifetime of lessons for you all to learn, for all of us to learn. Even I, at 40 years of age, continue to learn even today. So today I'd like to share with you some of the challenges I have faced in my own career and in my life, and what these have taught me along the way. My hope is that you'll heed my advice and leave here invigorated at the prospect of a fruitful and rewarding career. But first, some lessons to help you along the way. Now, lesson number 1. Travel far, but remember the path home. Graduates, there's a journey ahead. Today you will leave this university and seek to forge a career that you take far and wide. As you go, you will face challenges and you will reap rewards. But throughout all of this, remember where you came from and what made you who you are today. A story is told of Mary's well in Enkaram. Mary drank of the waters of this well to refresh herself on the journey to share the news of Jesus' upcoming birth and to receive the news of Elizabeth's soon-to-be-born son, John. Enkaram has always been, and still is, a place of tranquility, of vineyards, cool waters, and refreshment for those that journey. The School of Public Health to which you belong and to which you owe an allegiance is like Mary's well, an oasis of resources. It is your duty now to get the word out about these resources, to work far and wide and share these with the global community. Your contributions to your communities and to the world at large will be the good news that draws others back to this oasis. However, unlike in nature, this oasis of resources does not replenish itself naturally. It requires constant topping up in the form of fundraising in order for it to maintain its position as one of the world's leading universities for public health. In fact, all universities rely heavily on the work of their alumni associations in order to thrive. And this is something I have remembered from a young age, and I hope you will too. While in the United States some years ago, I met the Friends of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. This small group of visionaries has a powerful convening arm. We planned an event over coffee at 2 brief meetings, and within a month, at a grand ballroom at the Roosevelt Hotel in New York, we were able to bring together the most successful public and private sector leaders in North America to raise funds for the School of Public Health. We raised over $1 million US, but more than that, we provided visibility to the School of Public Health. I spoke at dinner on my experience as a student and the work I had done with the Ministry of Health, with UNICEF, with the NGO world, and then at the United Nations. I was rather nervous addressing this large audience comprising former ambassadors, the governor of the Central Bank of Israel, celebrities, and accomplished leaders in business, medicine, pharmacy, and the arts. But it's at moments like those that one realizes that focusing on the small gifts you offer is the best approach. Only small goals get effective results. So I spoke about safe drinking water and the lives that this often understated resource saves in the developing world. Mine was the speech that made the most impact for a simple reason. I spoke about a problem that impacts so many people across the world, but I informed the diverse audience of the concrete and simple steps the School of Public Health can take in order to have a real impact on so many people's lives. When you can offer evidence-based solutions to problems, you will find people come together around you to support you. I have since worked with the Friends of the Hebrew University in Toronto, Canada, and in London, United Kingdom, and I've made many amazing friends with the Jewish people around the world. And I'm delighted Lord Mendelsohn has come all the way from the UK this afternoon. Their capacity for love transcends both suffering and joy. Together with these Jewish colleagues and friends, we have sought to highlight the work that you as graduates are doing to make a difference. The School of Public Health and the Friends of the School will continue to reach out to you. We wish to highlight your successes and to support you. So care about being effective and being faithful to your calling and to those entrusted to your life. Now, I appreciate that foremost on your mind as you leave today's ceremony will be going back to work, getting a job, and perhaps beginning to pay off some of the debt you may have accrued over the course of your studies. But I ask you to also think about ways you can help the next generation of public health practitioners who will one day become your colleagues and friends. Think of ways you can raise money for the school or even help future students, so long as you're able to give back to others in years to come, and so long as you live up to the investment both you and the Hebrew University of Jerusalem have put into your studies, you will have paid back handsomely what was afforded to you by your scholarship and by your school. Now, lesson number 2, make use of your tools wisely. Today you leave here well equipped with a brand new toolkit, but don't let those tools turn to rust. Use them well and use them often. Remember the toolkit of social epidemiology so that you may lay down the measurements in the theory of change. Remember the spanner of survey methods to determine the needs and factors at hand. Don't forget to carry a can of the engine oil we call the administration of health services, and the coolant that is the wisdom you gained from the team dynamics in the dissertations exercises. Keep the memory of the class work and the field work, the mentoring and the recreation, the culture and the people. Keep these memories alive throughout your days. These tools and these memories will together be the passion that colors your contribution to your community and will ensure you will discharge of your duties with distinction. And remember, you can always add new tools to your toolbox. My friendship with the School of Public Health has brought me back to Israel several times. And while in Kenya, it has been a joy to draw on these short courses offered by the Mashav. Short courses helped us to train in emergency medicine and to mount emergency interventions when we had disasters in Kenya. These short courses also made it possible for me like I've said earlier this afternoon, working in collaboration with staff from the Hebrew University and with the leadership to put together and set up the School of Public Health and Community Development in Kenya, an institution modeled on the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. So I ask that you draw on these courses going forward as well, so that you may continue to build your competencies in your workplaces on your return home. Lesson number 3, never be too proud to receive help. Yes, you may have a brand new toolkit, but some challenges require an extra pair of hands or two. I graduated from this university in 1989. Yes, I'm 40 years old. There's really no need to do the arithmetic. I assure you it all checks out. I graduated with great pride, having attained what in my view is the best qualification on the globe. On my return to Kenya, I was fired up to change the world. I would set out on a project in the Ministry of Health and show all who came by me that I had something they didn't have and that they needed. I would rise quickly and accolades and praise would shower me. But the reality is that though the setting you left will appreciate you, it will not have all the offerings that the exposure at the School of Public Health has provided you with. I soon learned that without a team to work with, to consult, to support me, and to support each other, I would have no impact at all. And so the old African adage reminds us, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Within a few months at the Ministry of Health, I was looking for my year mates and for other graduates. And so we reached out to the Shalom Club in Nairobi. Here at the club, we met other graduates of programs offered by the Mashav and refreshed our pursuits and vision with the memories of the skills and experiences from Israel. Our gatherings were warm and always left us feeling inspired to keep going. Those of us from the School of Public Health then asked whether we could set up our own chapter or group to inspire us around our special skills in public health. And with a few emails and telephone calls, our tutors, including my personal tutors, Jaime and Rosa Goffin, were on board a flight to Nairobi to visit us and hold hands as we sought to reset our campuses. The Goffins met with us in teams, as individuals, at work, at family settings, and gave us insights from their experiences on how best we could engage as a team in our particular settings. The fire they lit under our feet spurred us forward, together with Professor Newmark, my lecturer, to the setting up of an alumni association and to convening the first regional meeting of the Alumni Association. The first regional meeting was held in Kampala in 2014 in East Africa, and at that meeting we discussed the roles of the alumni and spoke about malaria control and HIV/AIDS, and sought to consolidate and grow the student and alumni network around this issue. None of this would have been possible without working together and drawing upon the diverse experiences and skill sets of my colleagues and friends. For their loyalty and friendship over the years, I am deeply grateful. Now, lesson number 4, let your work become your passion. Let your work become your passion. By the time I attended the meeting of the alumni in Kampala, my journey had taken me from being a government medical officer to UNICEF, to private health sector, to the Aga Khan Health Services, to being a fiery NGO activist, through to politics, and on to being an ambassador for Kenya at the United Nations. At the time of this conference, I was deeply involved in my career at the United Nations. I was the chief of the executive board and intergovernmental affairs at UNFPA. This is the largest board at the United Nations. Today, as you've heard, I am Deputy Secretary General at the Commonwealth Secretariat, responsible for the Commonwealth Fund for Technical Cooperation. This is a fund to which member states contribute their annual payments, and this supports the Secretariat's technical assistance across the Commonwealth. I'm repeating this because there are some who are just hearing me speak this afternoon, including my colleagues from Kenya. This broad base gives me the ability to engage with a wide range of actors across the world stage. So how does my own career provide an example of a coherent, relevant pathway forward? It's really simple. As you travel along the way, be passionate with your calling. Fall deeply in love with life and with your duties, and take risks on behalf of others who need your care and support. No one ever died saying, "I'm so glad for the self-centered, self-protective life I have lived." Well, I suppose some might, but I suppose there are exceptions to every rule. Anyway, along the way, in service to others, I've given of myself to the poor and voiceless. I've worked with young people on HIV/AIDS and their participation in community efforts to increase awareness of this disease. Together with women in small groups in the peri-urban slums of Nairobi, I've provided inputs to health and sanitation linked to table banking. These inputs have allowed women to provide for their families and to focus on their civic awareness. As a composite package, this has improved their welfare and that of their families. The concern for the welfare of families is one that I've shared with women in synagogues in New York, as well as with businesswomen in China. I've trained and shared wisdom with women, some of whom focus their political participation at rural grassroots level, and others who have vied for senior office. Some went on to become ministers of health. Others, like my senior colleague, Dr. Bachelet of Chile, have become presidents. My experiences have taken me not only around Kenya, but to municipalities in South and West Africa. I've worked with heroes of the liberation struggle in South Africa and others such as President Eileen Sirleaf Johnson on ending violence against women and girls in Africa. I received a grant for work at the medical school in Nairobi on ending female genital mutilation from Senator Hillary Clinton while she was in government. I've addressed forums on research and professional medical education with doctors and dentists in global and international settings. At the UN, I spent many hours drafting and advocating for international health, and I'm particularly proud that I contributed to the political declaration on HIV and AIDS, as well as to the setting up of the Non-Communicable Disease Alliance. I mention all of this because these diverse experiences, shared with a diverse group of colleagues, only happened because I became truly passionate about my work. And this passion became the roadmap for my adventure. But just because this adventure was rewarding and fulfilling for me, do not be fooled into thinking it was easy or without difficulty. This leads on to the next lesson, lesson 5. Learn what it means to be fruitful. I'd like to recall a quote from the great Henri Nouwen, the Dutch Catholic theologian and psychologist. We've been called to be fruitful, not successful, not productive, not accomplished. Success comes from strength, stress, and human effort. Fruitfulness comes from vulnerability and the admission of our own weaknesses. End of quote. Throughout my career, I've learned many new things. But this quote of Professor Nouwen captures one of the most important lessons life has taught me. Learn to value ignorance as much as knowledge, and failure as much as success. This is hard to hear on graduation day, but clinging to what you know and do well is the path to an unlived life and a journey without joy. As I examined my own skill set, I realized that I needed deeper skills in advocacy and negotiation, so I set out to gain these at the United Nations through short, hands-on exposures. But I'm delighted that the School of Public Health is now thinking on a tract in this area. So I say to yourselves, examine yourselves constantly, find your weaknesses, and seek out challenges that will help you improve on these weaknesses. Expand your horizons and seek to stretch yourself in everything you do. As you journey, take on jobs worth doing, difficult jobs. Don't be effective and file the reports and the bottom line. Make a difference. Think big. Think of Nelson Mandela, Florence Nightingale, Mother Teresa, Golda Meir, David versus Goliath. Heroes take on impossible jobs and stay fixed for the long haul. They are faithful to their gifts and to the world. And I think this is an important point. Make use of the talents you have and use them to help others. I believe this is something my own son, Peter, who has now passed on, learned early in his life. Peter was wise beyond his years. His wisdom was matched only by his kindness to others and his tireless efforts to use the skills God had given him to reach out to his fellow brothers and sisters. An expert in ICT, he set up a charity in the United States that brought together the young Kenyan diaspora and showed them ways in which they could have an impact on the development of ICT in Kenya from thousands of miles away. Had he not died from sickle cell anemia 2 years ago at 30 years of age, and not long before he was due to take up his scholarship at Cambridge, he would have no doubt continued to think big and use his skills to their fullest in service to others. Having met my son, tasted his cooking, and conversed with him over the years, a group of Jewish diplomats with whom I worked closely in New York came to love and respect Peter as well. Last year, they got together, flew to Israel, and planted 10 trees in Peter's name in the Eshtaol Nature Reserve. They later presented my daughters and myself with a certificate of the planting of these trees from the Jewish National Fund. This touched me deeply. These Jewish diplomats, whom I'm honored to call my dear friends, gave thanks to Peter for a life lived in service to others and to God. And I thank each of them for recognizing his good work. I consider that in 30 years, Peter did what takes some people 70 years to achieve. Peter learned to be fruitful by encouraging others to grow their own talents. In so doing, Peter's successes became the fruit on their trees. And so I urge you to do the same. Go out, try hard, and be faithful to your gifts. Learn what it means to be fruitful, and then teach others through your actions. If you do this, there can be no life better lived. Now I leave you with one final lesson. Lesson number 6, embrace contradictions. Let your altruism meet with your egotism, your generosity meet with your greed, and your joy meet with your grief. Embrace your humanity and wholeness. As you embrace who you are, you give the world an examined gift. If the unexamined life is not worth living, then the unlived life is not worth examining. Graduates, you have been privileged to earn a quality Masters of Public Health and Community Medicine at one of the world's finest institutions. Now your challenge is to remove the obstacles that confront others in their work settings. Be hospitable and approachable. Do not fear diversity, for the fear of diversity is bringing the world down. Transform the suffering that you see around you into things that bring life and hope. Let the love affair with your career and with your life grow stronger each day. And lastly, remember the path home. I thank you.
Since ancient times, dance is regarded as an expression of joy and sorrow, a conduit of individual and community healing, and an integral part of therapeutic rituals and celebrations, primarily to remove evil spirits and invoke some good ones. It has become somewhat of a tradition in our graduation celebrations to share a brief glimpse, for the graduates, to share a brief glimpse into their own national dance culture. So, dear graduating class, please come up and invoke the spirits.
Tell them, say you there. Tell them, say you there. Tell your neighbor, tell them, say you there. Tell Thank you.
all protocols duly respected, distinguished guests, family, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege for us to have you amongst us today. You're welcome to our graduation. Bukhim Abayim. It's been an honor and privilege for me to serve as the representative of these wonderful people who are graduating here today, people from all over the world, all the continents. It's been a real privilege. On behalf of the 2016 and 2017 class, we would like to thank all of you for making it. We are privileged to celebrate this special day with you, which marks the end of a wonderful journey in the IMPH course. Each one of you made a very special contribution to our stay and study in this beautiful country, Israel. Today, we thank you for your support. We thank you for everything. We stand here today to give you a brief experience of this course, to tell you how good it has been and how difficult it has been. But before that, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank some key actors who made this program a success for us. A big thank you to the faculty and staff, Professor Ora, Professor Newmark. Thank you for the dedicated team of experts and professionals who taught us. Thank you, Edna. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Matan. Thank you to all the staff of the faculty. You've done more than words can express to provide us with the state-of-the-art education tailored to face the dramatic health challenges of the 21st century across the world. Our sincere gratitude to the Hebrew University and the Hadassah Musical Organization for the enabling environment. To our sponsors, Sir Trevor and Lady Daniela Pierce and the Pierce Foundation, Mashaf, the British Friends of the Hebrew University, the American Friends of the Hebrew University, and Moshal, we say thank you. Your continued support to the Hebrew University and specifically to the IMPH program over the last years cannot go unappreciated. Also, we thank you for your vision in improving health of people living in the forgotten corners of the world, in people living in the hard-to-reach and underprivileged corners of the world. With your support in training us and many previous public health experts and those who will be opportune to study here in the coming years, you have reached out to thousands of lives in countless ways. The activities and works of your beneficiaries, such as our distinguished Dr. Josephine here present, is a testimonial to what you do. Dr. Josephine, I couldn't follow up your speech because I was left calculating the mathematics of your age. It must have been a privilege to have been in this program at the age of 12. As we leave this room today, as we leave this program, some of us will join foundations and international organizations and policy-making organizations to help guide health policies that will strengthen health system and make healthcare accessible and affordable to all around the world. Some will work in the local communities to empower these communities to make healthy choices to face the challenges of the 21st century. A few will dedicate themselves to medical and epidemiological research to provide evidence-based solutions to the complex problems of our world today. Some will continue to study, some will enroll into PhD programs and pursue bigger goals. And above all, each and every one of us is going to be a communicator. We're going to use this opportunity, we're going to use this knowledge here to communicate to the world the neglected health problems which are hardly spoken in the media, which are hardly spoken by those who lead us. No matter where we go, no matter what we do, we all share a common goal, making human life better. The journey has not been easy, and my colleague Smita will give you a briefing of what we went through. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Edwin. Good evening, all. The past 11 months have been the most fascinating period of our lives. For me and for my many of classmates, this was the first time away from the home for such an extended period of time, and the first time sharing our lives with the classmates of such a diverse cultures from across the globe. As it is popularly said, Jerusalem is the center of the world, and no one leaves Jerusalem unchanged. I strongly believe in this statement, because over the past 11 months, we have all changed in several ways. We come in search of knowledge, and yes, we are definitely going back with a professional public health toolbox to impact change in our countries and communities. Talking about the change and drawing inspiration from a tractate of Jewish oral law, Ethics of the Father, I quote, "The wise man is who learns from everyone." As yes, we did. We learned a lot from each other, and we will continue to keep that spirit alive among ourselves with the other hundreds of IMPH alumni, as Dr. Josephino said it already. We also learned a lot from our instructors and other faculty staff who did not limit their teaching to the classrooms, but also took us out on the professional site visits to understand the Israeli healthcare system. Amongst other things, some of us gained weight, others lost too. We learned different qualities of teamwork, including tolerance, patience, and willingness to compromise. Many experienced freezing winter cold and scorching summer heat for the first time, because some of us come from the places where it is always a summer. And our greatest achievement through this course has been the opportunity to work with the people of different backgrounds, cultures, and perspectives. Because of the challenges, we had this spatial slang amongst us that people, it's not a war. And eventually we all realized that we must think globally, but we act locally according to our own situations and make some small changes, as keynote speaker already told all of us. We also spend considerable time with each other, holding long sensational discussions, enjoying barbecues on our balconies, and misunderstanding or even fighting now and then again, but also followed by reconciliation and resolution. We all will definitely miss that. Through this course, we had opportunity to visit many of the cherished and historical places all over Israel, as Old City of Jerusalem, Masada Fortress, Sea of Galilee, Dead Sea, Akko, Tel Aviv, and Iliad, and many more places. Everything from this beautiful nation, Israel. We also were taken on professional visits to various organizations such as Shalva, Aline Rehabilitation Hospital, Magen David Adom, and others. These visits helped us to build the confidence, and no matter the disability, everyone can contribute positively to the society if given the opportunity. Also, the experience of the delicious Middle Eastern food, such as falafel, hummus, takina, shawarma, and many other Israeli delicacies, was wonderful. We were offered the unique opportunity of celebrating the various Jewish festivals such as Passover, Purim, and Hanukkah, just to mention a few. For nearly all of us, this was the first and perhaps the last opportunity that we will have to do so. What an exciting experience for all of us. Now, as the year comes to an end, we all are packing our things in preparation of returning home. We all are experiencing mixed emotions. We are, of course, happy to reuniting with our families and our familiar environment, but at the same time, we all are sad for losing this awesome togetherness. As the saying goes, every beginning must have an end. Such is the way of life. but we will forever remember our IMPH here in Israel, and we will be back. Thank you. Toda rabba. Now I would like to call upon a stage Professor Yehuda Newmark
and Professor Ora Pachiel. On behalf of the IMPH class of 2016-2017, we say Toda Rabba.
I would like to call Edna and Matan. I would also like to call Pamela and Dr. Ronit.
The graduates have prepared a brief video to share with us their year in Jerusalem. And although the IMPH is indeed a very academically challenging program, we maintain an active social and cultural program so that they return home with a deeper understanding and appreciation of our little nation and corner of the planet. So please sit back for just a few moments and enjoy the year that was.
Hi, Manishma. Mshativeno. I am Bernard from Cameroon.
Namaste, I'm Bindu Panti from Nepal.
Akam. My name is Opsi Baisa. I'm from Oromia, Ethiopia.
Magadi Zenu. My name is Nyasha. I'm from Harare, Zimbabwe.
Sambano, I'm Handma from Mongolia.
Bonjour, bonsoir. I'm Hans Michel Pierrot and I'm from Haiti.
Kedu. My name is Vincent. I'm from Nigeria.
Jai Shri Krishna. I am Gandharv. I am from India. Shalom.
Habari zenu. My name is Sharon from Kenya.
Shalom. Koimli Emmanuel. I'm from Nigeria.
Привет. I'm Irina from Russia. Let's Lasot Haim.
Matonto Monsoon. Hi, I'm Edwin from Cameroon.
Namaste. Korim Lismita, Anime Hodu.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm from Guyana.
Hi, my name is Abraham from Ghana.
Hi, 大家好, I'm Sun Xiaojin from China.
Xin chào, I'm Long from Vietnam.
Shalom salam.
Unukabo, I am Boy Jalo from Sierra Leone.
Bula, I'm Mary.
I'm Akish.
We're from Fiji. Sababa.
Each letter makes a sound. Well, we start with ABC. We go all the way to Z. The letters of the alphabet are fun for you and me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 여자 커피 한 잔에 여유를 아는 품격 있는 여자 밤이 오면 심장이 뜨거워지는 여자 그런 반전 있는 여자 너는 선어해 낮에는 너만큼 따사로운 그런 선어해 커피 식기도 전에 원샷 때리는 선어해
In Israel, no balagan. Rak shalom.
The International MPH program is but one of Bronze School's numerous academic activities and is the job of the school director, Professor Ora Paltiel, to oversee and advance the school on its many fronts. So just before our graduates receive their long-awaited degrees, I'm pleased to call upon our final speaker of today, Professor Ora Paltiel.
Good evening. I hope you'll understand if I forgo all the greetings in the interest of time, protocol observed. And many of the thank yous, which you've already heard, I would like to add a few thank yous of my own. The IMPH staff was rightfully thanked, but Shirley, where's Shirley? Was not mentioned. Shirley, who helps our students get through statistics in a very, very good way. And I would like to thank our teachers. You don't hear it from them, but I heard it from them last night. Our students think you are the best teachers in the world. So thank you to our teachers. And last but not least, our fearless MC, Professor Huda Newmark, who instead of resting after a 3.5-year run as school director, got called back to the flag to direct this program, which has been his love and passion for years. Sorry, Francis. Much has been said. It is. It's bigamy. Much has been said in thanks to our donors and to our esteemed keynote speakers. I can only echo the gratitude and the admiration already expressed for the important work that you do. And to Professor Ben Sasson, newly appointed Chancellor, and to Professor David Lichstein, outgoing Dean, whose support for the school and the program have been unwavering. To Dr. Ronit Harel, Associate Dean, who translates this support to facts on the ground, and to Hadassah for giving us a home and sharing our raison d'etre. But now I want to speak to our graduates. You have participated in Israel's best-kept secret, this program. It's certainly one of the most beautiful and meaningful activities which take place on this campus, perhaps in the whole university, and maybe in the country. It is the embodiment of Herzl's vision, of Ben-Gurion's hopes, and personally of my own idealism and my desire and that of our entire faculty to share knowledge and to bring our students to a higher realm. And so now that you have reached this higher ground, it is my job to send you off with a wish and a prayer and a few words of wisdom. My wish is that you be conscientious in overcoming barriers to public health in your countries, cognizant of the problems that exist and are about to occur, competent to assess their causes, comfortable to pull up your sleeves, and committed to work hard to resolve them, creative in coming up with solutions, and confident that you can make a difference. My prayer is that peace will reign in your countries so that you can devote all of your energies to these tasks and to enjoying your families, your friends, and the beauty of nature around you without fear or conflict. And finally, a few words of wisdom, actually from my nephew Josh. Josh says, "The way you do anything is the way you do everything." Think about that. It won't always be perfect, but it should be your best. Do your best to bring health opportunities to all, since without health, how can men, women, and children accomplish anything? For when you do your best, whether in clinical work, in organizations, in determining policy, or in teaching and research, I'm sure that fewer children will go to bed ill or hungry or orphaned. Fewer mothers will anguish about the well-being of their children, and fewer fathers will mourn. In short, fewer will suffer. Challenge yourselves to leave no one behind, to address inequalities, injustice, and corruption. It will pay off. And while doing your best out there, don't forget to stay part of the global and expanding IMPH family. We have Josephine here as a role model, a doer, a model of excellence, and yet someone who has stayed committed and connected. You have already earned our pride, my pride. But we do expect this pride to grow and grow and grow, as you will, facing the challenges ahead. To quote Helen Keller, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. It's been a pleasure and a humbling experience to know you, to teach you, and to welcome you to my home. Sula Shalom, go in peace.
Abraham Sambian of Ghana, Pears Foundation Scholar. Mary Vakawala Tambua of Fiji, Mashav Scholar. Akesh Narayan of Fiji, Mashav Scholar. Amal Hayat of Jerusalem, recipient of an anonymous scholarship. Bindu Punti of Nepal, Mashav Scholar. Long Bui of Vietnam, Hebrew University, Sigmund and Gusta Lowenberg Fund Scholar. Fon Edwin Ntunji of Cameroon, Pears Foundation Scholar. Hans Michel Piwot of Haiti, Mashav Scholar. Irina Zarubina of Russia, Hebrew University, Hans Rosenthal Memorial Fund Scholar. Khandar Talati of India, British Friends of Hebrew University, Jonathan Mark Scholar. Kanma Surbata of Mongolia, British Friends of Hebrew University, Henry and Leon Cohen Scholar. Mohammed Boy Jallo of Sierra Leone, Pears Foundation Scholar. Nsa Bernard of Cameroon, Pears Foundation Scholar. Yasha Makaruse of Zimbabwe, Moshal Foundation Scholar. Opsi Beza of Ethiopia, Paris Foundation Scholar. We were just informed just a few moments ago that Opsi has graduated magna cum laude. Congratulations. Emmanuel Ogum of Nigeria, Paris Foundation Scholar. Ravendra Jonathan Dudnat of Guyana, Mashav Scholar. Sharon Kataka of Kenya, Paris Foundation Scholar. Smita Turku of India, Hebrew University, Hans Rosenthal Memorial Fund Scholar. Xiaojin Swen of China, Hebrew University, Sigmund and Gusta Lowenberg Fund Scholar. but certainly not least, Vincent Ani of Nigeria, Pears Foundation Scholar.
All right.
Okay. It's video, you can move.
The Chaim!
All right.
Okay.
It's a 7. It's a 7.
Hi, shalom.
Shalom. This guy. Sababa. It was. Shalom. It was. I was last year.
Sababa.
עכשיו הכל בסדר. שלום.
Shalom.
Mazal tov.
Shalom aleinu Shalom aleinu. Od Yom Shalom aleinu. Od Yom Shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom. Shalom. Salam. Aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam. Salam. Shalom aleinu, od Yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Od Yavo shalom aleinu, od Yavo shalom aleinu, od Yavo shalom aleinu, ve'al kulam. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Shalom, shalom. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam.
Yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu.